Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just thought I'd do a quick video on the Springboks match day squad for the Rugby World Cup final. Uh, it's actually a big game. As I said in the previous video, I just can't believe we've been talking about other rubbish the whole time this week. This is the massive game. This is a dream World Cup final. This is the game we've been waiting for, and the Boks have finally named their team. So let's get right to it. As you may have noticed, I'm not in South Africa at the moment, but I'm not at home at the moment. There's a minor bird next to me singing his lungs out there. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. The key takeaways: the 7-1 bench springs out at you. Andre Pollard and Faf de Klerk at the as the starting halfbacks. Yeah, those are the two aspects. And why did the Boks do this? Well, one, I think the 7-1's quite obvious. I don't think there's any sort of doubt in what they want to do in this game. I think the one thing the Springboks saw that in that Twickenham game was that the All Blacks do have a bit of a weak point in their tight five in the forwards, and I think what's probably just made that such a bigger thing now has been the rain in Paris. I think they learned their lesson after England, after maybe going with. I think that's part of it why they went with Andre and Faf. Other than I think they were always going to go back to their most experienced players for this game. I think the wet weather taught them a lot of lessons from that game, and I think they've got while they've been a lot more attacking and have played a lot more sort of width in their game with Marnie at 5. I think we're going to see a return to sort of the bludgeoning, straightforward, hard-nosed Boks that we know. Of course, the All Blacks would have learned a lot from that game at Twickenham, and they've improved significantly since then. And their width game and their attack is still their biggest asset. So it's going to be a game of contrasting styles, and the All Blacks feel that they have got the pack to take on the Springboks here. It'd be interesting to see if they can, because I just think the awesome spectre of bringing on the 7 forwards at the same stage in the second half. It's a hell of a risk as well, especially for a World Cup final. And I think the stakes are so high that, but again, the Boks have backed themselves, backed their systems, backed their innovation, backed everything that they believe in. And while the rest of the world won't do it, and other coaches won't do it, they believe it's the way they can get on top. And if they get on top against the All Blacks, then they'll win the World Cup. So, what bigger stakes to play it at? And if you're a gambling man, sometimes you have to play those big hands. And Rassie and Jacques definitely believe they have that now. Yeah. Quite interestingly, obviously they're going to go play a much more tactical game with Andre and Faf there. I think the kicking game is probably a bit better as well. Just tactically kicking. I think that was something that was lacking against England. And experience. There are 14 players in the 23 that played in the 2019 World Cup final. And that experience will be wonderful for the Boks. That experience is going to be extremely good for them. They know the stakes. They know the pressure. They know how big a stage it is. And the All Blacks are no strangers to pressure either. Although if you say over the last couple of years, the team that's probably been a bit more vulnerable to pressure has probably been the All Blacks, although the Springboks haven't been that consistent. But 14 players in that match, 22. Faf de Klerk there and Andre Pollard, I think we're going to see a lot of bomb kicks. I think it worked for England against South Africa, but I think at the end of the day, the Boks believe they don't have only the bomb squad, they've got the nuclear squads back, and they brought in 2 players that are exceptionally physical. Jean Klein, Munster, and the joke going around, obviously, is that it's Ireland's first World Cup finalist, the first Irish player to reach the World Cup final. I think he's been quite funny about that. But and Jasper Wiese, who's as physical as can get. So with Jasper, Jasper only knows one way, and that's forward, and he's as physical as they can get with him and Dwayne Vermeulen alternating at 8. The other change in the reserves has been Trevor Nakani coming back for Vincent Koch, which was a bit of a surprise. I'm actually wondering if Vincent doesn't have an injury. I'm sure we'll find out through the day. But I think it's rather unfair, rather bad if he did lose out on the final spot from that semi-final. He and Oxenchair made a huge difference when they came in the second half for the scrums, and expect them to do probably the same with this squad as well. But the scrums aside, I think it's just generally the Boks physical play. They want to smother, they want to smash the All Blacks, they want to really suffocate them and stop their general play from just exploding. The All Blacks can score out of nothing, and I think the Boks have seen that. They saw that in August when they played them in Auckland, and the biggest way for them is to get a good start and to press home that advantage early and put the All Blacks on the back foot, because the All Blacks aren't a team that like playing on the back foot. So I think the Boks, if they can get on top like they did at Twickenham, score those early points, they'll rattle the All Blacks. Of course, the pressure is much higher, stakes are much higher. It's a much bigger game. It's so easy to say these things for us as pundits, but what matters is what happens on the field. What has happened now is that the Boks have signalled their intent. They've made no qualms about what they want to do. They want to smash the All Blacks. They want to get dominance up front. And the problem they have is if that doesn't happen, what happens then? I think they probably feel confident enough that they've got everything in their arsenal that they can do it again. They've got, I think, a significant, maybe mental advantage after the Twickenham game against the All Blacks. But still, there'll be a desire in New Zealand to right that wrong. It was their biggest ever defeat. And knowing New Zealand like they do, New Zealand rugby, they take those losses very hard. Ian Foster's gone through the mill, and people have said everything they can about him. But he's got them to a World Cup final. He's got them to a point where they can get a World Cup trophy and he can become on par with Steve Hansen and Graham Henry and those guys. And it's just, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be designed by both teams. It's going to be a very close final, but it's going to be the team that sort of takes the opportunities. And we've seen the Boks haven't started very well in the last couple of games. France and England both sort of were up in the scoreboard very quickly against them, and they came back to win those games and showed grit and determination and a lot of experience to pull it out of the fire. But it is still one of those things where you sort of say to yourself, well, yeah, they need to get on top early. They need to get physical dominance, and then they need to press it home with the NUKE squad. I think it's one of those games. It's very difficult to predict. I think the All Blacks are on such confidence at the moment. Boks won't be overawed by that, but they'll be wary of it, because the All Blacks are playing exceptional rugby. The way they dismantled Argentina with such ease, was a warning sign. It was a warning shot to the Boks. And the Boks have come through some really physical challenges. If you think that they've played every side in the top 6 in this World Cup, so it just shows you just how tough their road's been. I mean, my colleague Gavin Rich said it yesterday to me. He said, he mentioned in one of his pieces, Kitch Christie always used to talk about the high road and the low road in a World Cup scenario. If you win the one, you go the high road. If you win the other, you lose the one, you go the low road. But this has been the underground road, in his words. Now, I really laughed at that. Jeez. Just carrying on. Anyway, but it has been the Boks, and I think if the Boks do win this, they'll probably end up as one of the greatest teams in world rugby. 2 back-to-back World Cups. You can't really fault that. You can't argue against. But the job needs to be done first. And while I know the Boks will be bruised and battered from that England game and the French game before them, last week Jesse Kriel and Damien Delenda could easily have sat in the stands. The back three really weren't really, other than the up and unders, weren't really sort of brought into the game. I don't think they've been overworked as such, but I'd hope we see a bit of them as well, and I hope we see a bit of attacking rugby as well. But with Paris forecast for rain and a 7-1 split, I think it's quite clear. Anyway, let me know what you think of it as well, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. There'll be some more videos coming your way soon. And if somebody can guess where I am, it'd be interesting to see in the comments. Cheers.